Thank you for giving me the floor on behalf of the Civil Society and Indigenous Peoples Mechanism. As you know, the CSM has been very much involved in developing these guidelines, as we have repeated on a number of occasions. For us, this process is not a mere product. It's something basic and fundamental in our lives. We are not here as a stakeholder, but rather as rights holders. In the plenary in which the states approved this voluntary guidelines, the Civil Society and Indigenous Peoples Mechanism said that there would be more time needed for an inclusive process involving all of our members. And in April, the CSM decided not to support or endorse these voluntary guidelines. Now we would ask the Secretariat to include in the notes our position, and we would ask this to be published on the CFS website, as we had requested in the plenary. Our reasons for not supporting these guidelines are related to the process, but also the content. So the process, it was a process which, according to our view, did not respond to the necessary ambition or the mandate of the CFS. It rather responded to the timeline dictated by the Food System Summit. The Food System Summit, which we have seen similarly to this document, at the Food System Summit, this document was barely taken into account. In terms of content, we believe that the guidelines do not provide the right direction that we need for the transformation that our food systems need, nor does it provide recognition for the very negative role that industrial agriculture has had in the current crisis that we find ourselves in, nor does it speak about the positive role that agroecology can play in models for the future. Measures agreed in other CFS processes have been cast into doubt in this negotiation, and aspects so as key as the right to water have not even been included. This process has made it clear that the greatest objective is to preserve the interests of the larger countries, and this is a higher priority than human rights, and this in the midst of a climate and social crisis in the 21st century. And health and nutrition cannot be ignored. The link between them cannot be ignored in this way. We believe, therefore, that it is necessary to draw attention to the responsibility that we have as the CFS, which is a policy convergence space, a space which brings together different actors, and it should be the rights of people, not the interests of a few. The participation of civil society is key in this space. Our constituencies want to defend these rights, and this is absolutely necessary. There are some examples, as Mexico pointed out, and I would like to thank Mexico, because after an hour of discussion, one person finally mentioned agroecology. We have very positive examples which allow us to move forward with intersectional approaches, but in the last few months we have seen examples such as in Colombia, where a law was approved on junk food, and the content is not even well known by the government, and it responds really to the needs of large industry. This shows us that these guidelines are not adapted to bring about transformative policies. We would like to say that we are still in this process. We have not endorsed the document, but we're still present in this process, because we know that we have to look at implementation and monitoring that actions generated by these guidelines bring about, both in the global north and the global south, because both are important. And the monitoring process has to has to be a key process, but it also has to bring about analysis that highlights the shortcomings that may arise in other CFS areas. We do not endorse the guidelines, but we have our own document for work that should be done on the ground, and many know about this. We are looking at the process for the future, because we know that this space, the CFS, is where responsibility lies, and where necessary transformation of food systems can be brought about. Thank you very much.